Hello viewers, Super GT here. So this is a quick guide on how to use manual with clutch on Forza Motorsport 7. There is a reason really why you're going to want to use this, and that is it makes your car quicker. It makes your car accelerate a lot quicker, it reduces your shift times, and it's something that is definitely worth learning if you really want to become good at Forza Motorsport 7. So if we head over to the Rivals menu quickly, I'll just show you why you might want to use this. If we go to the leaderboard for this first event, you can see underneath the auto column there's nothing there. No one's got anything within that column. That basically means all of these people who are top of the leaderboard and the best players in the world are using manual with clutch. So it clearly is the best way forward. I'll explain later, you don't want to use it in every car, but it is something that is definitely worth learning. So the first very important part of getting this right is going over to Progress and Options and go to the controller. Your controller layout is very important. Now this is what I use. I use layout 1, and then you want to go down to here to Switch Handbrake and Clutch, turn that to on. Now you can see on the infographic at the bottom it says clutch is A, shift down is X, and shift up is B. So if we have a quick look at the controller itself in actual use, so we've got A in the middle, B on the right, and then X on the left hand side. So essentially all you're doing to change gear is you're pressing in the clutch and then pressing B to change up, or pressing X to shift down. So what I do is I just rest my finger or my thumb across A and B and just press them both down at the same time. Or if I'm going to go down gear, hold across A and X at the same time and just press that. So that's a very simple way, a very simple method of how to shift up and down with manual and clutch. So a good way to practice this would be go to free play. Now it doesn't really matter where you go, you can just choose any track really, but it might be easy if you choose a track with long straights so you don't have to worry about cornering. So a good track to do would be Le Mans, the old Mulsanne circuit. Obviously it's got the very long straight, so you can just go up and down that straight whilst practicing. And to practice this, it's probably best not to choose a GT race car or a Le Mans prototype or the Formula 1 car. I think practicing in a slower car is probably best to begin with. So something like this, a very simple Mitsubishi GTO. So when you get to the race, of course you just want to change your assist, make sure shifting is set to manual with clutch. Obviously it won't work if it's just on manual or automatic, of course, so you do need to go to manual with clutch. So okay, I'm here at the end of the Mulsanne straight, so a very long straight. It's easy to practice in a straight line, so you don't have to worry about the turning. But I mean, it is up to you again, as I say, it doesn't really matter where you practice this. So essentially you're just going to pull away, and then as you shift, you're just going to press A and B at the same time, and then that will change up a gear. This is the very simple method. You can see that I'm not letting go of the throttle as I change gear. It is a good habit actually to learn to remove the throttle as you change gear, because technically that is slightly quicker. I think it's quicker in this game. In previous Forza titles you didn't really have to let go of the throttle whenever you change gear, but I noticed in this game I think it does make more of a difference, so you do want to actually let go of the throttle, I think, although I must say it doesn't make much difference at all. So that is upshifting, you're just pressing A and B at the same time. If we're going down gears, we just put the brakes on, you're pressing A and X. And you can see there, quite simply goes down all the gears from 5 to 1. So it's a good idea just to try and repeat that process, so it's just start accelerating again. Now I'm going to let go of the throttle this time, so as we go roughly up to the red line, that's roughly where you want to accelerate to before changing gear. So accelerate, wait for it to get up there, let go of the throttle as you're pressing A and B at the same time, fairly simple, and then on the downshifts you're pressing the brake pedal while pressing A and X at the same time. So that's the very basic process. All you have to do really is just get it into your head exactly when you have to shift, and just remember that you're pressing 2 buttons instead of 1. So you're going to turn around and go back, once again shifting exactly pretty much on the red line. The timing isn't what's really that important here, it's just the process. The process is what's important. You'll get the timing down just by playing it more often. You'll know exactly how the car feels and how it accelerates when you shift gear, and you'll know if you've got it at the right point. If you shift too early, the car won't accelerate at all in the next gear because you've shifted way too early and there's not enough RPM. And of course, if you're hitting the red line limiter, then you know that you've waited too long to shift. Downshifting is a lot harder because it is hard actually to say exactly when you're supposed to shift down, but I'd say as a rule of thumb, when it hits the 3 or the 2, roughly between there, on the speedometer, that's roughly where you want to press it. So in this car, roughly about the 3. But again, it's not really that easy to explain exactly where you have to downshift, but what I'm trying to tell you here is just the process by which you can actually do manual with clutch. I'd actually say a very good method when downshifting to try to employ is to obviously know how many gears you're going to shift down and just try to space them out as much as possible. So I'm going to be in 4th gear here and I'm going to go down into 1st gear, so that's 3 shifts I have to go down. And let's say I'm braking for about 3 seconds, then that's roughly 1 second per shift. So we're going to space them out as much as possible. So that's just a very rough way of trying to learn exactly how to do it. It's not easy to be precise, but I think just by going up and down this straight, you'll learn how to do it. And once you know how to do it in a straight line, up and down, up and down, up and down, you then be able to take that to the corners where you're about to carry it over. So the best cars to use manual with clutch on are usually the production cars. So something like, again, the Mitsubishi GTO, just these road cars. But then once you start getting to a car like this, so we have a full-on race car here with a sequential gearbox, you don't actually need manual with clutch, you just need manual. So another example would be the Ferrari GTE car here. This is another car that would need just manual. You don't need to use manual with clutch in this car. It has a sequential gearbox. It doesn't really have, it's not like a road car where you have a clutch pedal. This is a proper race car, so you won't actually need to use the clutch. So in that sense, the game kind of mimics real life a little bit. So just be careful which cars you do use it on and which ones you don't. It isn't always required. So the general rule of thumb is if it's a race car with a sequential gearbox, you don't need to use it. So things like the GT race cars, the Formula 1 car, the LMP1 cars, a lot of those don't need the manual with clutch assist. So I'm going to take this to the next level here. We're going to try around a track. So we have some corners to deal with this time. So you have to try and get into a routine really with manual with clutch. It really is just about trying to get the process into your head, and eventually you'll get there quite easily. Now this is quite a good track to do. It's Road America East route, and the reason why it's a good track because it just has lots of straights and then lots of corners in a straight line. It's fairly simple in that way. So we're going to keep it really simple here. So going up the straight, oh, missed that shift a little bit there. So letting go of the throttle every time you shift. And then eventually we're going to get to the corner. And I imagine we'll have to go down 3 gears here, I don't actually know. So we're in 6th gear, 7th gear actually, go down 4 gears. And then brake just that tarmac changes. You can see there, just holding the brake down, and while you're braking, in a straight line ideally, just pressing the downshift A and X, equally spaced out from each other, and on the exit of the corner, up the gears again. Now I didn't actually let go of the throttle there. Sometimes it doesn't seem to make much difference, but from what I've seen, I think there is a difference. In previous games it didn't actually matter. You could actually just hold the throttle down and it didn't really make a difference. So this is a really good way of just going round and round again, and all that does is just gets the process into your head, going into the corner, getting on the brakes, how many gears do we have to go down, press it that many times and then go around the corner, on the exit, up the gears, off the throttle, onto the gear shifts, and then you're just going to get that process into your head over and over and over again. It's the best way to do it. So again, we're going up to 7th gear. We're going to go down 4 gears. Let's space out those 4 gears as we go onto the brakes. So onto the brakes, off the throttle, down the 4 gears, nice and spread out, around the corner, a little bit wide, keeping 3rd gear through the corner, and on the exit, again up the gears, very simple. So I think just by going around a track like this, it makes it very easy just to get the process. Just keep practicing, keep practicing. That is the only thing I can suggest really. This kind of thing is really just down to how much time you just put into it. Eventually you will get there. Now don't be afraid to be a bit slow for a while. It might seem strange trying to do this, but it definitely will make you faster in the long run. So it is definitely worth learning, and I'll definitely suggest trying to learn this if you haven't done so already. But there you go guys, that's the end of this guide. I do hope you find it useful. So of course just put the time in, use the right settings, and then just try and pick a nice track which is easy to drive around. I recommend this, the Road America East route. It's quite a good track for this. And then pick a suitable car, something like this. The Acura NSX. It doesn't really matter too much though. Of course, just try to avoid the GT race cars and cars like that, because they don't actually need manual with clutch. So the main tip I'll give when upshifting, let go of the throttle, shift the gear, and do that around about the red line, although that's not always the best. It's just a very rough estimate. On downshifts, learn how many times you have to downshift for each corner. Just try to remember that in your head. It's a lot to think about, but it is the best way to do it. And then just remember, oh, for this corner I have to downshift 3 times. Space out those 3 times, and then you should downshift and get down to speed quite nicely. But that does bring a close to this one guys. I hope you find it useful, and of course if you need any more help, then do comment down below and I shall try to answer you if I can. So thank you very much for watching guys. I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.